All right, everyone. Hillary Clinton was delivering a commencement speech at her alma mater and was all sorts of warped the entire time. She had another coughing fit, which didn't escape notice. She's a very sick lady, it seems, number one. Number two, she alluded to, oh, yeah, I'm proud of my campaign. Yeah, I take responsibility, but insert Comey, insert Russia, insert, she's been talking for the last few days. This is laughable. About the vast right-wing conspiracy that she alluded to back in the late 90s has come back full force. She's now declaring that the media is like far right or something, despite the fact that she got nothing but favorable coverage from virtually every angle in both the legacy, like the cable media, and on radio. Like everything old guard was nostalgic for the 90s and saying, oh, Clinton, break the glass ceiling. And that's all they ever talked about. They never really wanted to talk about her emails. When they were finally forced to talk about them, they made sure that half the coverage they gave was, oh, but we've got to remember this was Russian hackers. Don't look, remember CNN covering for her ass saying, oh, well, it's illegal for a private citizen to go on WikiLeaks, which is absolutely false. They bent over backwards to support her campaign. Anyone with a clear head had to look at the election and say, yeah, Trump may be getting a lot of disproportionate coverage because he's meme-worthy and knows how to get that accomplished. But the coverage that does exist of Clinton, other than on like Fox or in the alt media, like online, with the cool kids who don't watch cable crap TV anymore, was almost entirely pro-Clinton. You look now at coverage of Trump, it's almost entirely negative. This includes, by the way, for those who want to talk about how Fox is some glorious bastion of populism, most of their coverage of Trump is negative too. I wonder why. It's because they don't focus. The entire network isn't just Sean Hannity rambling because a teleprompter's in front of him and he decides to ignore it occasionally. Most of the network is still a bunch of fucking neocon warmongers that are afraid that Trump won't start enough conflict or something like that for their shareholders, their corporate shareholders in the arms industry. Hillary Clinton proceeds to say, oh, yeah, I beat Bernie Sanders and I beat Donald Trump. She's alluding to the popular vote when she talks about beating Trump. Thankfully, Miss Clinton, the popular vote doesn't ultimately matter, and the Electoral College was set up to prevent tin horn idiots like you from screwing over large swaths of the nation because a handful of urban areas think that you're the goddess herself come to insert your gender into politics or something like that, to keep bigots like Hillary Clinton from taking the presidency. Because she assuredly is. You look at her interview there where she was rambling about carrying hot sauce around. I expected her to break down and start smearing like chocolate sauce on her face. Say, I'm one of you. Al Sharpton endorsed me. You should vote for me. I love black people or something like that. It was very funny. Her minstrel show politics obviously didn't work too well since her proportion in the minority voting department was far less than that of Obama. That was funny. White women abandoned her. I wondered why her My Vagina campaign didn't work either. And you didn't really beat Bernie Sanders, or I suppose the better thing to say is we'll never know whether you beat Bernie Sanders because the DNC now is more or less openly admitting because of the lawsuit going on there. See what happened? Now, for those that aren't in the know, for those that haven't seen it because the corporate media won't report on it, only the alt media. Bernie Sanders was screwed. You screwed him. That's what it's called. He did fundraising for the Democratic Party, and a large amount of that money that he fundraised, while the primaries were still in operation, went directly to the Clinton campaign on behalf of the DNC. And so there's a lawsuit going on. The DNC has come out and said, yeah, oh, of course that happened, but we have the right to do that. Unfortunately, they're technically correct. The DNC, like the RNC, is a corporation. It is a for-profit organization that delivers to their shareholders, which are essentially those giving them political donations. Therefore, the arms industry, multinational banks, the Saudi Arabians, and so forth, pour all this money into the Democratic Party in hopes of extracting back out of them once they've won an election. They lost, of course. Trump is the first president in recent history who did not suck their dick, who didn't suck on the teats of the corporations largely, and funded much of his campaign himself, and the rest was grassroots. It was small donation support. There's a reason why a lot of Sanders fans were confused about whether they should bother to support Hillary Clinton. The way Bernie Sanders was treated by the DNC, by the Clinton campaign, makes it clear it wasn't a fair race by any stretch of the imagination. You don't have to like Bernie Sanders to admit that that's the case. I don't like Bernie Sanders. I never would have voted for Bernie Sanders, but he did get screwed by the DNC. They are morally, although not necessarily legally, in the wrong in that case. So we'll never know if you beat Bernie Sanders because it wasn't a fair race. Everything was switched around last minute to the best of the Clinton campaign and DNC's ability to prevent him from taking the mantle of candidate. Not that it would have made a big difference. In my estimation, Trump still would have won, even over Bernie Sanders. I know a lot of the Bernie fans, some of which are on this channel, don't want to admit that. But Bernie Sanders was an aging socialist. His ideas are in some ways similar to Obama's, and that wouldn't have helped him in the Rust Belt. He would have been more competitive maybe in Florida, but would he have made inroads in the Rust Belt? I think he might have lost by a larger margin, I'm sorry to say. For those Bernie fans out there, I don't think he would have made it. Might have been more competitive, I don't know, maybe in Virginia, North Carolina, that general region. He certainly would have won New Hampshire. But then again, she already did. She eked by because she trotted Bernie out on stage to pretend that he hadn't been just gotten through getting screwed by her, essentially, in the DNC. And she lost against Trump. She can talk about the popular vote all she wants, but a few million extra Californians and New Yorkers voting for Hillary Clinton because they're convinced that Trump is Orange Hitler does not swing an election. This is exactly what the Electoral College was set up to prevent, the tyranny of the majority sort of situation where most of the country gets fucked over by a few urban areas. She lost. She lost the election. She needs to own up to that. Stop blaming Comey. Stop blaming the non-existent Russian conspiracies, the non-existent right-wing legacy media. The legacy media is dying anyway. It wouldn't have mattered if they were right-wing. Wouldn't have done anything. In fact, if they had been pulling for Trump, if they had been honest in reporting on Clinton's failures, she probably would have gotten more votes because so few people actually like the legacy media. The fact that the legacy media were conspicuous in trying to prop up her dying campaign towards the end, that was one of the reasons why she lost. It's part of the lame establishment. Nobody likes it. It's not cool. It's not honest. It's not fair. It's part of this corrupt sort of oligarchic system. They bashed Trump over the head day after day through the primaries and then in the general election. He actually got buoyed up by that because people said, behold, the media is not being fair. While the media represents all these idiot warmongers, including the never-Trump neocons, are you going to trust them or are you going to take a chance with Trump? It actually helped him long-term to be bashed by the media. It's helping him now. And the media comes out and doesn't report fairly on what's going on, spawns all these weird conspiracy theories. It just gives people ammunition against the least trusted and least well-liked group in the entire country, which is the corporate media. The IRS is more popular than the legacy media. Congress is more popular than the legacy media. It's not going to hurt Trump when they go full yellow journalism mode. So Hillary Clinton is crazy. She's also apparently still ill. That pneumonia is sure lasting a fucking long time. Or her allergies, they just act up constantly. Doesn't matter what the temperature is, where she is in the country, she's got constant allergies and pneumonia. What's wrong with this woman? I am very glad that she lost. And I hold to that. Yeah, I'm glad that Trump won the election over Hillary Clinton. And I voted for Donald Trump. And I didn't do it because I wanted him to deport 10 million people. I did it because I was afraid that Hillary Clinton was going to start a war with Iran or some crazy shit like that. And that it would be another Clinton presidency, which means a lot of corruption, a lot of attempts on the Second Amendment, a lot of suppression of journalism. The so-called suppression that's going on right now with Trump ignoring the legacy media and not inviting them to his birthday party is not suppression of the media. If you want that, you go back and look at the 90s and look at what the Clintons did when it came to people that wanted to interview them or wanted to investigate, getting their entire lives destroyed. Obama did this too. You don't even remember because it was years ago. Remember that time that Obama was conducting surveillance on a bunch of journalists? You remember that? When it was revealed and it was all hush-hush and nobody wanted to talk about it, even though there was proof positive that it had actually gone on and it wasn't just a theory. It was actually objective truth that it had happened. Yeah, you probably don't remember that. It's how short people's attention spans can be. I mean, yeah, Hillary Clinton. Oh, I beat Trump. No, you didn't. He appears to be in the White House right now. I do not believe that you are. Oh, I beat Bernie Sanders. Yeah, with help from the DNC. The same group supposedly representing him as an honest and equal candidate to you screwed him over a half a dozen times. No wonder you won. You probably would have lost out against Bernie Sanders in a fair race. Why do you think that I predicted Sanders wouldn't stand much of a chance? There's like a 99% chance Hillary Clinton would be the nominee from day one in the primaries. It was even more clear than Trump winning the primaries on the other side. Why do you think that? Because it's the Clinton family. Of course things aren't going to be honest. Of course there's going to be corruption and backstabbing. It's a Clinton. It's self-explanatory. Everyone should have known what was going to happen as soon as she became a candidate. Hell, Obama only managed to win because the Democrats decided it would be lovely to have the first black president. That's really what it boiled down to. They gave him that, and the DNC at that time struck a deal, and the former head of the DNC being Tim Kaine, I believe, if I remember correctly. I wonder how he got on as the running mate of the Hillary Clinton campaign. I think there was a deal struck there too. And the DNC said, okay, you can go next time around. We want Obama in there. It's too close. It's not far enough yet from the 90s. The Clintons were just in power. 2 Bushes and 2 Clintons in a very short span of time is going to look conspicuous. You need to wait. Let Obama go in there. She says, okay, but I want to be Secretary of State. I want to guarantee that I'm the next candidate. And this dude who's heading the DNC, I'll take him on as running mate. You fix everything for me. And that's what happened. Bernie Sanders was screwed from day one. He was only allowed to run in the first place because he was never technically a Democrat. He was an independent. Because there's nobody else who wanted to run against her. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to deal with her attitude, with her dishonesty, corruption, and the fact that she had very visibly controlled the DNC for that entire period of time. Thank goodness she lost. Can you imagine how corrupt? You think that things are bad right now. They're not that bad. They'd be way 1,000 times worse if Hillary Clinton had won the presidency. All these people that are doing this weird sort of mind game crap, pretending that Hillary Clinton won and making up like, satirical news stories about what Clinton would do in any situation that arises in the news. They get like blogs and sites and shit dedicated to that purpose. You don't know anything about the Clintons if you think that she would actually be doing a good job. We'd probably be in a major war by now if she had won the presidency. That's about all. Peace out.